Well, in the alleged words of Lindsey Williams to William Cooper, who's deceased in Ruby Ridge, um, supposedly it was Lindsey Williams told him, asked him, are you a traveling man? And he goes, what do you mean? Do you come from the East? In other words, that was a reference to Freemasonry because you travel to the East to gain knowledge and you go to the West to spread the knowledge. That's basically at the Eastern Star, that type of stuff. And, in the conspiracy circles, the Freemasons are a bad thing, and then if you look on the internet or Wikipedia, it's a good thing or whatever. But, it does appear that Lindsey Williams does have Freemason connections. And take it for whatever it is. Take it for whatever it is. But something don't add up with that guy to me. I'm going to also say something here before I get into some other things. With Ron Paul, same deal. Same deal. The truther movement is kind of sad because they've tried to, it's like there's certain people that actually really wake up on things and they get behind, I call it false opposition. And the powers that be control this opposition. That's what's really going on. That's what I say. In the case of Ron Paul, there was primaries where he should have really fought back. His supporter says, hey, you got cheated, you got cheated. He's like, oh, no, that's okay. Because he wasn't supposed to win, really. The whole deal is. Or if he was that weak, I don't see how he could have done anything about the Federal Reserve other than talk about it, or done anything to dismantle the military-industrial complex or all this stuff he says he's going to do. It's all talk. So, you get behind stuff like that, forget it. Actually, you shouldn't get behind anything. You should just act on your own because all individual efforts add up. Don't think that it's insignificant. People don't do nothing because the elite game that they play is, first, they want you to feel so discouraged to not fight back. And that is a major, major part of their game. If you don't fight back, you lose. You lost already. But the cumulative effect of all people, it makes a major difference. Now, one thing with silver, I've been saying, is it's something that you will not participate as much in the banking system because part of the problem where there's this disparity between wealthy and poor is the actual financial and banking system itself. And the way you can look at why is that an obvious factual statement, if you look at the top echelon of, like, say, 1/3 of 1%, all of them practically are connected in the financial and banking sector. And you just know that isn't on talent per se. It's all due to connections. So, is the game rigged in their favor? Yes, it is. It's like quite obvious. It's like, how do these people retain that much wealth, gain that much wealth? Is anybody worth $15,000 an hour or whatever if you divide up their salary into 40-hour weeks or 50-hour weeks? No, nobody is. Nobody's that talented. And that's typically what a lot of these people get for money. So, what's going on? It's like they have a racket with the banking and financial sector. So, therefore, like, silver is one way to not participate in it. But it shouldn't be like your only investment. It's one method. Now, today's silver went up over $20. Wow. I guess J.P. Morgan was off for the weekend for Thanksgiving. So, I don't know what the deal is. Some people are saying that the outlook for silver and gold is going to be bad in 2014. All things being the same, that would be the case, but two big factors, and I said this before, is that we're going to have a budget crisis come up for real that they forestalled in October. It's coming up in early 2014. Israel is talking about striking Iran, and AIPAC, the Israeli lobby, United States, basically told Obama, either you put on more sanctions or not back off the sanctions, or we're going to strike Iran. Now, that's not Freemasonry talking. That's not Lindsey Williams elite or whatever the hell it is, It's actually, I've pretty much determined that everything out there in alternative media that's fairly large is total disinformation. Total. And you have to define disinformation as 90% truth, 10% garbage. In the case of some things, it's like, when's this going to happen? When's that going to happen? Gold's going to be this price. Silver's going to be this price. Oil's going to be this price. They're all way off. That's something that could help you because it's a financial prediction. In the case of political events, they might throw a couple things in there that might be right. So, that's how the meat is on the hook, but basically the hook is to steer you wrong financially. Now, the reason you have gold and silver is basically for a systemic financial collapse, the same reason Mark Farber says so. It's not actually something you would bet on per se as a speculative bet. Because possibly there's other areas in there that are, there's always been areas that are better speculative bets. But the thing is, if the system actually has a problem where there's a currency crisis globally, silver and gold actually will play out very well. And tensions in the Middle East and conflict in the Middle East will also give rise a lot to silver and gold. And my contention is, what I've been maintaining is that, maybe several years from now, you're never going to see $20 silver again. But if you look back historically, how has any commodity behaved? It's never went like this. If you look back at, you just go to Investment 101. What's the sector in investment world that's the most volatile, that's the most high risk and possibly high reward? It's commodities. And silver is a commodity. And gold's a commodity, more or less. It's money, it's a commodity. But the thing is, when you invest in this, you never put all your money into it. I've never said that. But being so, if you did put a lot of money into silver, and you'd follow the advice of some people that said you have to put all your money into physical silver or you're gonna go under, I'm going to tell you, just hang on, because I don't think it's going to go to the astronomical lows that some people are predicting, because the mines are getting slaughtered right now. And if you could tell by the mining sector's stocks that are way down, it's the only sector in the stock, well, it's maybe not the only sector, but it's one of the very few sectors in the equities markets that's highly suppressed, whereas the rest of the equities are up there. And, we might be in for, inverse relationship to start changing that the other way around. And like I said, if this does happen where Obama keeps removing the sanctions or says he's going to remove the sanctions, or I don't even know. There's so much controversy in this deal. It says we may not, we might, with these sanctions, I don't even know what the hell they're going to do. It's supposed to be 6 months from now. It's supposed to be if this happens and all this happens. But, it's almost looking like Israel may strike. If that happens, expect oil to go way the hell up. And you're going to see gold go way up. And you're going to see silver start taking off like crazy too. So, if that happens in 2014, you're going to be up quite a bit. And that's the reason I'm telling you to hold right now. Not to sell out, because, nobody knows the future for certain. But it's almost like when things look as bad as possible and all the people are out there, their silver pumpers are starting to change their minds. Now, it's almost getting safer. And the reason I go on here is because it's not that I'm pumping the metals per se. It's like I never really liked what a lot of other people were saying. First off, you have the major media that are totally against going into any of the kind of physical metals. And then you got the people that are into physical metals. They exaggerate the hell out of everything, So, I never expected it to go to 18, but I did say many times that it was going to go. Well, it did seem like plausible, but I did say many times it was going to go solidly below 26, even though that seemed crazy at the time. I didn't think it was going to go all the way down to 18. But, it's it's about as, I just go by common sense 101, fundamentals here, basically, in regular things that happen in the financial world. If it tests 26 so many times, there's going to be one time it's going to break through 26. So I always figure, even on the way up, 26 might be a lot of resistance. On the way up, too. I don't know. That's another common sense type thing. It may or may not be, though. Who the hell knows? But it may not be a lot of resistance if there's conflict in the Middle East and there's budget crises all at the same time. You can go ballistic. But remember, they have a method of actually chopping down the price at any time they want, and that's called, raising the margins. And, so if they feel that it's getting ahead of itself, they'll chop it down. So if you see 50 million silver pumpers coming out there because it's getting near 50, 50 might be where it's going to get hammered again, or if it breaks through 50, it's probably going to go well into the 60s easy. If it breaks solidly through 50, it'll probably go to 60. I think the next fib point would be 72 to 75. But, if it starts getting up that high, say, for instance, in 2014, very, very unexpectedly, as it seems now, they're going to be screaming that it's going to go to 100, and I bet you don't. Okay? So that's what I'm sensing on this. Basically, it's not really my senses, but I'm throwing out my own thoughts now that are untarnished by other people. And usually when I only think just, from absorbing facts that I pick up, and I pick up facts from the major media. I don't pick up their opinions. I don't like the major media. I don't like the opinions of the major media. But the facts I pick up from the major media. All things being equal, the economy in the United States looks like it's recovering, so that's not too good for gold. But there's other factors that are coming on that may really drive it up hard. It may. And I think there's other people that actually are in the know that, since there's a lot of people actually that are higher up that have taken long positions on gold, including the 6 largest bullion banks in the world. So that's interesting too. Because usually, the rest of the stuff that you get out there is information. It's garbage. But anyway, stay with your investment, because right now, being that it's so suppressed, it may, I think later on though, this Bitcoin deal almost tells me that, I don't know, it's tulip mania to the max, but when gold and silver, I think later on, when there's a major financial crisis in the world with all the currencies and all the debt that's being piled up, all the currency inflation, basically, where people are constantly buying their own bonds and they're issuing more money and they're adding more debt to every single government out there in the world. There's going to be a major global currency crisis. And at one point in time, you might see a major panic into gold and silver. And they can go way to hell up there. It could go way to hell up there, far more than I expect. I think that's a few years down the road. But we shall see. But anyway, just watch out for the disinformation. I don't follow the Eastern Star. I don't follow anything, to tell you the truth, man. I don't follow anything. I ain't working for any bullion bank. I don't sell any coins or anything like that. But I'm just saying that right now, things are being suppressed so much. And I'm going to actually point again a link about the spot market in oil and the commodities markets, how it's rigged. I actually put this video out maybe a month ago. I think a lot of people saw it. But for people who didn't see it, you might want to look at it, because I talked about some other things that went on in the Gulf with the oil spill and some other things. And it's actually commodity markets. There is a lot of market rigging up and down. So when silver takes off, they might rig it up too. They might rig it up. It might actually go higher than you expect. And so, only those on the inside are going to know that for a fact, but there is a lot of market rigging going on. And the accusations actually came from the former head of the New York Mercantile Exchange. Or, it's part of it where the accusations are coming from and the lawsuit and everything. So, it's not coming from, somebody that's a blogger or somebody like me that's just on YouTube. It's actually coming from people that are on the inside that are making these accusations. And the other video that I put out on this does refer you to, the actual source information, so you can read it on your own. And it's there's quite a bit to it. There is a lot of market rigging going on. So, when you're looking at the price of silver right now, this is not actually what the price should be. So, that's one reason I say you should hang on for a while longer. And it's going to take some, we might see this blow off top of a little mini bubble in 2014. And then another reset in 2015. And I think the final bubble is going to be in 2017. That's just my opinion on that, but it seems every 3 years, the commodities and metals, if you look back, 2005 was a height, 2008 was a height, 2011 was a height. I figure possibly 2014 will be a height. Looking at some things, there's some other events that may drive it up. 2017 may be the major height. 2015, there's some that are predicting that it coincides with the Jewish calendar. When we had 9/11/2001, there was a crisis. 7 years later, on the Jewish Hebrew calendar, there was September 29th, 2008. There was another major financial crisis, and some are predicting that September 2015 will be a major financial crisis. So I'm suspecting that, there may be elation in the metals where they go up unexpectedly due to unforeseen events that are looking like they're lining up right now. And the unforeseen events are the Middle East crisis and the budget issue in Washington, D.C. And there might be another correction around 2015. Going by this Hebrew calendar and the 4 blood moons. And you think that's a little crazy? I don't know if it is or isn't. I'm actually looking at every angle there is out there, and just looking at the waves, almost how things have been going in cycles. That's about I think that's a good ballpark estimation of what's going to happen in the future. So just beware of disinformation and people that say they have information on the inside, because if they have true inside information, first off, you're not allowed to even have inside information in trade. It's illegal, correct? It's called insider trading. And you wouldn't be on the internet blabbing that you have inside information. Your best thing you can do is actually present your informed opinion, and which maybe your senses might tell you. And I think my senses are on with this pretty much, because I'm going to stay uninfluenced from the others this time, and state solely what I think. And usually I realize that a lot of times when I just go with my own instincts solely, based upon facts that I read in the major media, I'm fairly accurate.